Believe it or not, that time of the year again, when we are talking elections and exit polls, and the two main states that the country is focusing on, the first big test for both the opposition and the BJP are the states of Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, these are really apples and oranges. These are two states that actually can't be compared. In Jammu and Kashmir, it is the first election that is taking place after the abrogation of Article 370. And in Haryana, in many ways, the Hindi heartland is testing what is happening to the politics of the BJP and the Congress. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Let's begin with asking what will happen in Jammu and Kashmir, where we have spent considerable time on the ground. We've heard a lot about Naya Kashmir, but Nayi Sarkar kiski banegi Jammu and Kashmir mein? Exit polls are forecasting an edge for the National Conference and the Congress alliance, but will they cross the majority mark? That's the big question as we decode the exit polls over the next 90 minutes. Omar Abdullah, in an interview to me, called it his toughest election of his life. Did he underestimate the performance of his own party, or does he know something that the polls don't? That's something we'll be looking at even as we ask what the role of Jammu will be on the overall decision on who will be chief minister. Meanwhile, the farmers' agitation and other issues, the restless protest, and of course the Agniveer issues seem to be making their impact felt in the state of Haryana, where exit polls are unanimously forecasting a Congress return. The Congress's only problem is the problem of plenty, with Kumari Selja declaring that she too is a contender for chief minister. How will Congress handle the Hooda versus Selja battle? The exit polls seem to suggest that that is the only anxiety that the Congress has, unanimous in their forecast that it will be the return of a Congress government to Haryana. This coming right after the Lok Sabha polls, where many are believing that these elections are the first test for both the Modi factor as well as the Rahul Gandhi factor in elections that will have both a political impact and, when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, also a geopolitical and a national security impact. Let's introduce our guests as we dive straight into what the polls are showing. Let's bring up our guests, please, now. And there, my colleague Zafar Iqbal is with us. Welcome to the program, Zafar. Can we have everybody's names on, please? We're also joined by Zafar Chaudhry, who's, of course, a senior journalist based out of the Jammu region. He's also the editor of the Dispatch. Welcome back, Zafar Saab. Also joining us is Dr. Kartikeya Batra. Dr. Kartikeya Batra is a visiting fellow at Sea Voter. You've seen him on all our election programs, and why should today be any different? He's back now from the United States in India, and it's good to have you with us in the same time zone, at least, Kartikeya. So it's good to see you. Also joining us is Sohail Saab. I want to welcome Sohail Saab to the program. He's a senior political analyst. Sohail Kazmi, good to see you here. Also, I want to welcome to the program Anjum or Unjam Manzoor. Welcome, Unjam, to the program. And also joining us here on the program next is Dr. Abhijit Jasrotia, who's a leader of the BJP. Namaskar, Abhijit Saab. And finally, we also have with us Riaz Majid. He's with the AIP party in the Kashmir Valley, otherwise known as the Engineer Rashid party. This has, of course, been a much talked about a factor in these elections, and we will examine what the polls are suggesting. So without further ado, many of our guests right now are from Jammu and Kashmir, but I think we also owe it to our audience, before we do a deep dive, to also look at Haryana. That seems to be the easier state to predict. I'm going to hand it over to Kartikeya right away, who will take us first through the Haryana numbers, and then we'll do a deep dive into Jammu and Kashmir. Kartikeya, it's over to you.
Thank you, Barkha. So Haryana actually is the state which we have less to talk about because numbers are still coming in. But whatever numbers have come even outside these three polls, of the 90 seats, I can clearly see nobody giving the Congress anything less than a clear majority. I think one poll I saw where the lower end was 44, but it seems like conventional wisdom suggests that Congress is easily 50 plus. The BJP, it seems, Barkha, is not completely wiped out, and that's something that I had been saying, that it's not a complete wipe out sense. If you think that BJP will around 15 seats or 12 seats, that's not going to happen. So BJP is in that 20 to 30 range. Now that is changing. Some are making it touch the 30 mark. My own sense is around 25 is where the BJP might settle down. What the key takeaway from this election would be, Barkha, that Haryana is now probably heading towards a much cleaner bipolarity than it was in the last two elections. 2014 was a classic tripolar election where the BJP actually went ahead with a clear majority at I think 30 something percent vote, and I can give you the exact number, but that was because the vote got split. So BJP got 47 seats with 33% vote. Come 2019, the BJP's vote share goes up, but seats go down. And the reason for that was that INLD completely collapses. And INLD's vote share, some of it is taken by JJP. In fact, I would say roughly half of it. The rest is split between the Congress and the BJP. So in 2014, what was a tripolar contest became a 2.5 pole contest in 2019. And 2024, I think, marks the return of a bipolar polity, something that we saw in 2009, 2004, when the Congress and the INLD were the main poles in Haryana. Now, it seems like there's going to be an era of Congress versus BJP. INLD will see some resurgence. So actually, I think JJP will probably become the most irrelevant player of the four. INLD might see some resurgence, but the others category, independence and all, probably will also have some vote share. So when I say from tripolarity to bipolarity, the independents in Haryana get a healthy 15-16% vote share. That might still remain. But the third party that used to be INLD and then JJP, that dissolution seems to have happened, which is why you're seeing the results that you are. So that I think is the key takeaway from the Haryana picture. And as we get more numbers from C Voter and Axis, probably we'll populate this. We can switch to J&K unless you have any questions, Barkha.
No, I was just saying I was a bit confused because I saw a number of zeros there. But basically, the three polls that we are following are Republic, Matriz, Axis, My India, and C Voter. And we're still awaiting two of those three on Haryana. But suffice it to say, so far, the other exit polls that have come out are all predicting a majority or a comfortable majority for the Congress. And we'll get later in the program when we're doing a deep dive into Haryana on what that might mean for Hooda's politics, what that might mean for Kumari Selja, what that might mean for the politics of the Hindi heartland. Let's switch now to Jammu and Kashmir.
Can I add, Barkha, though? Barkha, but Haryana has this habit of smearing egg on pollsters' faces very often. 2009 and 2019 are very good examples when the incumbent parties were being given 60 odd seats and ended up with exactly 40. My sense is that won't happen this time, but it's a good piece of trivia for your viewers.
All right, let's move our banners as well as we move the content. Let's focus now on Jammu and Kashmir, and I want Karthikeya to. This is a complex state to predict. It's a state I've spent most of my journalistic life reporting on, and the fact is that sometimes Jammu, the region, votes quite differently. Kashmir, the valley, votes quite differently. This is the first election in 10 years. It's also the first election after the abrogation of Article 370. Karthikeya, this is the tough one. No conventional rules of politics applies here. Yeah,
Barkha, it's no longer a state.
That's right.
It's no longer a state, right?
Although I do believe that we will see the restoration of statehood very soon, irrespective of who forms the government. But go ahead. Look at these. Look at these numbers. Yeah.
That Barkha has a technical impact on who would you have as your CM, because as a union territory, whoever becomes the CM now has very limited powers. So at this point, at least, it's not a trivial point. I mean, definitely what you're saying makes sense. But at this point, when you're making the call whether XYZ should be chief minister, they would actually think twice that even if I become CM, what will my powers be given that the LG is there? Anyway, that's a separate discussion. But as you rightly said, Jammu and Kashmir vote very differently. This time, Jammu's number of seats went up to 43. Kashmir is at 47. So roughly evenly split. In 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the NC and the Congress combined had a decent lead. So I think around 37, 38 segments they were leading on. The exit polls currently, what they are showing you, at least I can tell you in detail about C Voter, right?
No, we don't want Haryana. We want to go to J&K. I don't know how we've gone back to Haryana. We need to go to Jammu and Kashmir, please. We're on Jammu and Kashmir. Why did we change that? Let's stick to Jammu and Kashmir, please.
But it seems like the C Voter has come. So 54-24.
I know.
That was the idea.
No. We're doing one state at a time, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jammu and Kashmir, Barkha, it seems that this BJP's 29-30 tally, majority of it coming from Jammu, I would say in fact all of it coming from Jammu, which means that the BJP strike rate in Jammu is roughly 75%. in my own assessment, the election was going to, the final composition of the assembly was going to be decided by the Congress's strike rate against the BJP in Jammu, something that Zafar sir also discussed with me, and we sort of kind of agree on that. It
Yeah.
seems like BJP seems to be maxing out, or not maxing out, but doing really well in Jammu. Now, NC Plus are getting some seats in the Jammu area.
I think we have. I actually think C voter broke it down region wise, so we
11
can
to
look at the.
15. So 11 to
Can we look at
15.
the regional breakup, please? Can we look at the regional breakup?
So NC
Yeah.
Plus in Jammu is doing 11 to 15 of the 43. But
Yeah.
not all seats are Congress seats, because there are some Muslim dominated seats where the NC has been traditionally strong. So it seems that the Congress is not doing as well against the BJP in Jammu as per the C voter poll. Now come to Kashmir, the NC plus is ahead. And that is something that I think everybody thought would be the case. The
Yeah.
question is, as per one poll, others are taking a big chunk. And as per the other poll, others are taking a smaller chunk. My sense is the bigger the chunk of the others becomes, advantage BJP. The bigger the chunk of the PDP becomes at the expense of others, there is the chance of the Congress, NC, and PDP stitching some kind of a coalition. That is my sense, but I think we have two surveys right now, of which C voter is saying that NC plus Congress is very close to the majority, but
I,
may actually, yeah, sorry.
I'm actually waiting for the Kashmir slide. If we could please have the Kashmir slide. We're looking at the Jammu region, and then we'll go back to there. It is. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
So in
Right.
the Kashmir, if you see the Kashmir slide, PDP is getting 8 seats, which is a pretty healthy number. This gives
Yeah.
the NC Congress some kind of a cushion in case they fall short by 6-7 seats. But if
Right.
PDP becomes say 2 and others become 14, then how things might pan out is anybody's guess.
Right. So basically, what we are saying about Jammu and Kashmir, and I'm going to do one switch back to Haryana before we do a deep dive with our guests on Jammu and Kashmir. Basically, what you see in this regional breakup is a predictable. What's very interesting is that it's, oh my God, I just noticed that the BJP is getting one seat according to the C voter poll in the Kashmir Valley. And by the way, if that happens, that would be dramatic because that's never happened before. So I just wanted to focus on that for just a moment. However, what we're seeing is a clear regional disparity. But if we switch back to Jammu for just a moment, Omar Abdullah said to me in an interview, Kartike, that he felt that the Congress hadn't done its job, hadn't pulled its weight in Jammu. If we look at the Jammu figures, what leaps out to you? I'm just waiting for the
No,
Jammu slide to come up.
as I said, I actually wanted a further disaggregation between NC and Congress for Jammu. I haven't been able to figure that out. But my sense is that if this is 13, that means the Congress is in single digits in Jammu. And a good outcome for NC plus would have actually materialized if the Congress had crossed 10 seats. So that doesn't seem to be happening. So what Mr. Abdullah is saying may actually be correct. So the thing, as you're saying, it was all predictable. The only thing that would have flipped was whether in the Hindu-dominated Jammu seats, people prefer the Congress over the BJP, especially given that in the Lok Sabha elections, the margins in the Jammu Lok Sabha seats went down dramatically for the BJP. Both in Udhampur and Jammu. So that doesn't seem to be happening as per this.
Okay, now we have our J&K guests waiting very patiently. Just a quick glance at Haryana now, because we do have another poll coming in on Haryana, although Haryana seems a done deal. We have the C voter poll coming in on Haryana. We had the Republic Metries from earlier as well. While we're waiting for it to come up, Kartike, any thoughts on Haryana? There are people who've said it's more of an anti-incumbency poll than a pro-Congress vote. Their C voter. It's a very, very, very distinct
very clear,
electorate.
Very clear.
Yeah.
Except that, Barkha, you will see that others, that means INLD is doing well. 12 seats if C voter is giving. It means, when I say well, I mean like INLD is at least getting 4 or 5 seats.
Big difference though between C voter and Republic on the performance of the others.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's it. Now, I traveled through Haryana, Barkha, and we were talking while I was traveling.
Yeah.
My sense was certain belts, there was a very strong pro-Congress mood. This was the Hooda influence in certain belts.
Yeah.
But in certain belts, it was just a very anti-BJP mood. And the Congress was the best place to take advantage of it. And there, I think credit to the Congress that it held together its organization, leadership phase, narrative, etc., and got that vote. Because even in that kind of a scenario, when there is anti-incumbency against the ruling party, an opposition can completely bungle it up. Something that we saw in Uttarakhand some 2.5 years back. So credit to the Congress and its leadership this time that if they're able to get this performance, it is a combination of a pro-Congress wave in certain pockets, but largely the benefits of an anti-BJP wave, anti-BJP mood, I would say, because of different reasons. You have the Jawan, Pehelwan, Kisan. You have
And
local
we'll
anti-incumbency.
and we'll come to that, but I'm going to exercise my little bit of favoritism here and now do a deep dive on Jammu and Kashmir, which has been at the center of my reporting life for years. So let's switch our focus. Let's switch the slides, please. Let's switch the slides. We're switching now to do a deep dive in looking at the first election in Jammu and Kashmir in 10 years. And we have details coming out. 41% vote share for NC and Congress is the projection given by C Voter. Let me come to Zafar Chaudhary first, and Kartike, and we'll come to my colleague Zafar Iqbal also. Feel free to jump in with any observations, but let's get quick comments from our four guests first. Zafar Chaudhary, you had your own forecast on social media, and this seems to be mirroring that. But something changed. A few days ago, when we were talking, you said a hung assembly is not out of the realm of possibility. Now, we should be clear that while the NC and the Congress are projected to have the edge, and the NC is most likely to be, according to the exit polls, the single largest party, we still don't know whether the majority mark will be crossed by the alliance, right? So the hung assembly possibility cannot be ruled out. Zafar Chaudhary, please go ahead. Zafar Chaudhary, unmute, please. Yes, Zafar Chaudhary, sir.
Okay. I still don't rule out the hung assembly possibility, even if the results,
Yeah.
exit poll suggestions are overwhelmingly in favor of National Conference and Congress, because there is a trick also that the halfway mark in the Legislative Assembly is 46 seats. Here, the Lieutenant Governor has a provision to nominate 5 members who will have the voting rights. So that is to the advantage of BJP, because the ruling party will have the advantage on that. So any alliance to be in a position to stake claim for the formation of government would need 48 numbers. What we can see through these exit polls and a few other polls which have come since this evening, they project National Conference and Congress Alliance to gather around 40 seats. So even BJP getting those 5 seats, which the Lieutenant Governor will nominate, and then getting together all the smaller and individual, independent members and the smaller parties together, still they don't cross the 40 numbers. The People Democratic Party is, suggested here getting 8 seats. Even if they get 8 seats, 10 or 6 or whatever number of seats, they will hold key to government formation. But my fear is that PDP might want to stay away from both the alliances. So there was one possibility in India that we saw in early 1990s. Narasimha Rao government was able to complete 5 years as a minority government. They were 6 numbers short of the magic number on the floor. So one of the alliances, the National Conference or Congress, even if they have 6 numbers short of that, and PDP still wants to stay away. So will the powers, which are not visible generally in elections and after that as well, will those powers allow such a minority government to stake claim or not? So that is to be seen after the results. So what we can see as of now, that even as the largest alliance, the National Conference and Congress don't have the numbers to cross the magic, number on the floor.
Yes, but we should say, and Kartike will explain this later. Can we go back to the original side? If you look at a glance of all the polls, there is some variation in them, right? So if you see that there is a big difference in what the C Voter is projecting for the NC Congress alliance and what the Gulistan News is projecting, we're still waiting for the Axis numbers, right?
That's
So
a huge
actually,
difference.
we don't. There's a huge difference. There's a difference of 10 seats there.
10,
Right,
10
Kartike?
And that Barkha has come from the
Yeah.
independents. The others category is the biggest aberration.
वही
Now,
मुझे देखिए आप
it
21 21 seats for others in Gulistan,
So
9 in Sea Water.
in
Sorry,
in my
sorry. So Zafar Chaudhary, please.
in my assessment, the independents are highly unlikely to cross 6 seats or 7 seats. 21 is an astronomical number for independents. There have been, you see, these elections had 40% of the candidates were independents, but this trend has been in the past as well, in 2008, 14, and 2002 as well. But 2002 was the only exception when you had 15 independent candidates, which is highly unlikely scenario in these elections. The contests
So
were really very high.
let me get quick responses now. First from Dr. Abhijit. Unjam Manzoor is with the Congress. We have Riaz with Engineer Rashid's party, and then we'll come to Zafar Iqbal. Quick responses. Dr. Abhijit Jasrotia, आपसे शुरू करती हूँ. This is the obvious. 1 minute. Can we mute him till I complete my question because there's a loop back? This is Are you happy with these exit polls? Disappointed? Do you think the result will be different?
Obviously, there are a bit of difference between exit poll and exact poll. It's always been there. But we are anticipating good results. Obviously, our tally is going to what was our last time election score. And what we are anticipating is this, that without Bharatiya Janata Party, to formation of government is next to impossible in Jammu and Kashmir. Obviously, the work which we have done from past 5-6 years over here, the things have changed over here, and particularly that threat of gun has gone away. People are now feeling
Hmm.
safe over here. More than 2.5 crore of tourists have visited this place. G20 like events have taken place over here. And obviously, Jammu is going to give us the full support, and we are anticipating that a lotus will blossom from Kashmir also. So this is exactly
But
going to be there, and let us wait for 2 days only when exact polls comes over here. But we have done a lot of work, and frankly speaking, since I was taking care of the media in Jammu and in Kashmir also, everybody was on the toes. And if we'll talk about Bharatiya Janata Party, like a sincere student, like a hardworking student, we always keep on working for the whole of the year. Unlike those parties who just start preparing one day before the exam and later on they curse the teacher and their schools. So
but you know,
we have
uh,
worked hard.
अभी अभिजीत साहब कई बार होता है स्कूल में भी होता था बहुत पढ़ाई करो लेकिन रिजल्ट्स वो नहीं आते मार्क्स उतने नहीं आते जितनी उम्मीद हो बाय दीज एग्जिट पोल्स आर यू गेटिंग द मार्क्स दैट यू स्टडीड हार्ड फॉर
There is a quote that Malida kam pauni pauna par mashka lave, Malik da kam falful pana laune ke vana lave. So saying that we have worked very hard and we are anticipating good results over here, and we will qualify. That I can assure we will qualify.
Okay, so Dr. Abhijit says there can be no government formation in Jammu and Kashmir without the BJP. Let me bring in Riaz Majid. आप किस मूड में हैं? Because according to these, अगर सी वोटर करेक्ट है तो आपका इतना रोल नहीं. अगर गुलिस्तान न्यूज करेक्ट है तो आपका रोल है. As a spokesman of Engineer Rashid's party, Riaz साहब, what do you say? Riaz Majid साहब, please unmute yourself, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
So first thing that I would like to say is that as our boss, our Supremo has repeatedly said that participating in this election, AIP, our priority is not the government formation. We are not the forerunners for the government formation. But the thing is that since my friend was saying that there would be no government without BJP, well, what we have seen in many states happening, that could be true because repeatedly we have seen that out of nothing, BJP has been able to, establish or force government in different states. So the thing is that what we stand for is we stand for a change. We stand as a political, a formidable political force now. And, I have been saying it that this election may hold maybe bigger surprises that are visible there in these exit polls. We may have bigger surprises and shocks maybe also.
So you don't believe these? Can we go back to the individual breakup per the exit polls? And do please update us, Kartiki, if access poll numbers also come on J&K, if they haven't come yet. Riyaz Saab, do you
Yes.
believe these polls? Because these polls very distinctly give an edge to the NC Congress.
Well, as I said
Even
that,
Gulistan.
yeah, I have been on ground campaigning for the party. So what I have seen is that the exit polls that are showing, say, for example, if we talk about Gulistan poll, and even if we talk about the C voter, having a 9, 10, 10 seats or 12 seats for us, or maybe 15 if we go between 10 and 21. So that would mean something very big. So that's what I said, that people are tired of the parties that have been there, especially in the Kashmir part of Jammu and
So there's
Kashmir.
a very interesting data. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but Kartikeya and Zafar Iqbal, and actually everybody may like this data point. C Voter is saying that independents have secured 39% of the vote share. But has this converted into seats? We don't actually know. Because if you look at Gulistan news, the gap between the BJP and the NC Congress alliance is very narrow. If you look at C Voter, it's actually quite big, right? So Riyaz Saab is saying, Rukiye, there might be something that will shock you. Unjam, am I saying your name correctly? Is it Anjum or is it Unjam? First, please tell me that. I don't want to say your name wrong.
Good evening, ma'am. It's Anjum.
Anjum? Anjam?
Yes, please.
Okay, Anjum. Sorry, I don't want to say your name wrong. As a young Congress leader, what do you make of these numbers?
First of all, thank you so much for providing me opportunity. As I'm sure Formally, these are the figures, not the result. But yes, Indian alliance, this alliance, NC and INC is going to cross the majority marks here.
Hmm.
And there's no doubt in this. I was just listening, I heard this without BJP that there is not going to be the government. It's something like dil ko khush rakhne ko gali bhi ek khayal acha hai. But now
Hmm.
after decades, this election was not an ordinary election. We have casted a vote after a decade, and after in this decade we faced a lot. People of Jammu and Kashmir became politically active, more analytical, more critical, and for them the best option was alliance, nothing else, because we do have more than these figures. I believe on the impact of the factors, multiple factors, just like BJP is ruling since 2014 in Jammu and Kashmir. What they did, what they did, they just took away the special status, they just took away the statehood, they bifurcated the state, they went against the basic structure of the constitution by targeting the federal structure of the India. Though the people of Jammu and Kashmir are keen observer to this thing, so BJP has no chances over here. Then remains the PDP. PDP is the second part, but who give access to BJP here is the PDP. So the public, general public is critical to the PDP. Then remains the independent candidates. Though BJP is apparently not in the valley, and the public is aware that they do have a proxy candidate in the field, people are aware what they are doing. They are not politically active. They won't choose Bajpa once again in the Jammu and Kashmir. So we are definitely making the government here, Jammu and
Okay.
Kashmir. Yes.
Anjum. I should clarify that when I said 39%, can we go back to that banner? 39% vote share has gone to independence. This is the Kashmir Valley. And in Jammu, as Kartikeya points out, it's 18%. And that makes absolute sense because the phenomena of the independence has been a big one in the Kashmir Valley. We've seen Engineer Rashid's party. We've seen the Jamaat-e-Islami for the first time. It's a banned group, but backing at least 10 candidates as independents, all of whom have their own symbol. So these are very interesting things, and that's an important distinction. Hang on, Anjum. I want to get in Zafar Iqbal. Zafar, when we were on the ground, Omar Abdullah told us this was his toughest election ever. He said it was tougher than 2002, which was the first time that actually he faced the defeat when Sajad Lone was known as a separatist and he first flirted with electoral politics. I can see Zainab Sikandar also joining us. Zainab, welcome to the program. Zafar, Zafar Iqbal, that is, and not Zafar Chaudhry, what do you make of these trends?
Well, Barkha, can you hear me? Yeah. The
Yes, yes,
point
yes.
is that the point is technically it may be possible for the India Alliance to form the government or even for the BJP with the help of independence to form the government. But actually that government formation will not take place according to me. Because if you remember, when Mufti Saab formed a government with the BJP, he famously said it's the union of North Pole and South Pole. Right? Why did he do so?
Hmm.
Because one region cannot form a government, one particular representatives of one particular community cannot form a government in a state where Kashmir Valley is dominated by Muslims and Jammu dominated by the Hindu majority in Jammu. Now, the point is that all of these seats which are won by the India Alliance, the winning candidates are Muslims in the Kashmir Valley and also in areas of Jammu. And all those who have won for BJP are Hindu. How can
Yeah,
all the Muslim candidates come together and form the government at the exclusion of the Hindu population and vice versa? How can they come
yeah,
together? And that is where the role of a PDP becomes important. They have been saying always that they will be a kingmaker. Now, if they be a kingmaker, they may not join with the BJP. They would not want because they've already seen what's happened to their party. But their role becomes crucial. And I may say here that technically it may be possible for the Congress and NC to, because the numbers, if they get those numbers with the help of PDP, but still they may not be able to do it because one region cannot be excluded at the cost of the other
so
region.
you're basically saying that no matter how well the NC Congress does in the Kashmir Valley, you cannot have a government driven only by the politics of the Kashmir Valley. And this is an important point to consider. I want to welcome Dilip Cherian and Zainab Sikandar to the program. At this hour, the exit polls are forecasting, the polls that are out, a comfortable win for the Congress in Haryana. The only question the Congress has to grapple with is who will be their chief minister. And in Jammu and Kashmir, we are seeing variations. Gulistan News is giving the edge to NC Congress with a much smaller gap than the C voter poll is. Kartikeya, I was going to go to the question of alliances in J&K, but do you have a quick update for us? Do go ahead, Kartikeya.
No, not an update, Barkha. I just wanted to say that when this others factor becomes important, it becomes more difficult to poll. Because usually what you pick up is, state level trends and you try to project as per the party. But whenever a third force, which is kind of unorganized, comes up, it becomes very difficult. So even in the C voter survey right now, there are 18 marginal seats. NC could be as good as the NC plus could go up as high as 56. It could go as low as 34. So there is this huge range, and that gets muddied primarily because when there are all these others, it is very difficult to call. So Gulistan News probably is a more local outlet. What they are doing is they are taking a share of the NC seats, giving it to others. Because
Okay,
BJP and
Kartikeya,
PDP, they're kind of more or less holding constant. So it's
got
an
it,
important.
got it, got it. Now, before we ask you to give us the overall picture on both states with updated numbers, so please do update those slides for us. I want to look at the question of whether any party, Dr. Abhijit Jasroti of the BJP just said, BJP के बिना सरकार नहीं बन सकती Jammu and Kashmir में. So we put this question to Omar Abdullah that if it came to his political survival, and this is an important question because for the last 48 hours, the National Conference's opposition has been abuzz with allegations of a secret meeting between the BJP and the NC in Pahalgam. The NC has ferociously denied this. But if it's a hung assembly, what happens? Of course, the margins will determine the outcome. Take a look at what Omar Abdullah said to us on this. Waiting for that bite? Is it?
Do you ever see yourself, if it came to a matter of political survival, tying up with the BJP
Actually,
again?
tying up with the BJP would be the exact opposite of political survival. Today, Mehbooba Mufti is actually struggling for political survival because of 2014. Today, her daughter runs a serious risk of losing her first election because of 2014. So tying up with the BJP for the national conference and for me would be the exact opposite of what you're saying. It wouldn't be political survival. It would be the death of our politics and my political career.
It would be the death of my politics and my political career if I were to tie up with the BJP. I'm sure the BJP has things to say to this, but let me get first comments from everybody here. Dilip Cherian and Zainab Sikandar. Before I get first comments, Kartikeya, do you have any updates on Haryana for us? Because I know we've been doing a deep dive on J&K, but go ahead.
No, nothing new, Barkha. Anyway, I don't think Haryana is going to give you any surprises anymore. I think J&K is where probably more of the action will be. So I'm just trying to understand. If somebody's told me that Axis has given J&K numbers, I'm not very sure, but I'll keep you updated.
Okay. All right. The big picture at this moment, let's get the national commentators to come in on what this means nationally, and we can go back to our Jammu and Kashmir guests after that. Dilip Cherian, the big picture is it's a National Conference Congress Alliance advantage in Jammu and Kashmir without clarity on the margins. Will they pull themselves across the majority mark on their own? That's what we're waiting to find out. Haryana looks Congress all the way, leaving only one tantalizing question: who will be chief minister if these polls are correct, if the Congress's confidence is correct? Your take on what we know so far, Dilip Cherian.
I think having just heard what Omar had to say, the connection between Kashmir and Haryana is very obvious. The reason the INLD has got routed is because it joined hands with the BJP. And I think Omar is talking about the same thing as far as PDP is concerned. So I think the message where the voter is not very happy with a particular party, then anyone who joins hands with them, it doesn't matter what you do, how you perform, who your leader is, they will say, who did you ally with? And I think Omar, that point is something that is being proven on the ground if the INLD's vote percentage sheer drop in it, the sharp drop in it is correct. So I would say at a national level, the messaging is very clear. The voter is saying, we want more of openness, democracy, or whatever else that these parties stand for, versus also I think the factor of both Khattar and the governor in Kashmir is very important. If you notice, Khattar was made to was actually whitewashed out of the entire Haryana campaigns. He was literally not even allowed to show his face on most campaign platforms. Similarly, the anger in Kashmir, and this is what I'm hearing from my sources in the BJP in Jammu, is on account of the governor and what he has been doing with contracts, contractors, etc. Not engineers, please note. So I think that we need to understand what's going on, what the voter is
Yeah.
being annoyed about, and I think the messages are getting clearer and sharper, saying we want more voices, we want to hear new voices. And some people say that, oh, this is anti-incumbency. Kashmir is voting after 10 years, and so I don't think there's any anti-incumbency issues here. I'll stop here.
Okay, we're waiting for this slide to actually be updated. Kartike, if you can bring us the latest numbers on this, also to our producers at the back end. Zainab, your take on the overall picture, and we'll come back into the deep dive of both states separately then. Zainab, it's been called the first litmus test for the Modi government and for the opposition. At the moment, it seems better news for the opposition in both states than for the BJP. Though our BJP friend here from Jammu says he still believes that there will be no government formed in J&K without the BJP. Zainab, your take.
Firstly, I'd like to clarify I'm here as a political analyst, not as an RLD spokesperson, so that, everything is taken in context. So, firstly, I'll start with J&K. I spent a month in J&K in June and July. This was way before the election was even announced. And I was moving around in taxis, going to Gulmarg, Gondola, random people talking. Mm-hmm. And the reality of the matter was everywhere that there is an NC wave, and this was happening since general election. People didn't want to give PDP a chance because there was a resentment that PDP had allied with BJP, and then the application happened. So everybody knows the story. But there is a huge but here. People are not realizing the importance of the independent candidates in Kashmir, and I'm specifically saying Kashmir, in this election. And there are some fabulous faces as independent candidates. We sometimes always, put them in the others bracket. And, for example, Junaid Azim Mattu, who was the ex-mayor of Srinagar, he is an independent candidate, along with many others, who have a very strong local sort of base, people who love them. And in Kashmir, you have to realize people
and look at the number, Zainab, can we go back to the previous banner? It says 46% of young people, according to C Voter, voted for independence in the Kashmir Valley. Once again, I'm underlining that Kashmir and Jammu are throwing up different patterns, but it's very important to underline. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
See, Jammu is a straight call. You can straight away say BJP is getting all the numbers there. There is no two way about it. Please remember, the Congress cadre was nowhere in Jammu. They made a few faux pas. They gave a ticket to the ex, that Kathua rape case, supporter, So Congress basically did all that they shouldn't have done in Jammu. So BJP is winning there. There are no two ways about it. When it comes to Kashmir specifically, see, you have to understand, when Modi ji says, "Teen parivaron ne kharab kiya Kashmir ko," it has a sentiment on ground. Because people are also sick of the VIP culture that Kashmiris have. There is a big difference between the haves and haves, not in Kashmir. You've been covering Kashmir since forever, so you know it better than me, perhaps, And the Abdullahs, the Muftis, although, I have friends there in all the political class, but the reality is there is a resentment within Kashmir. So the independents are the kingmakers, believe it or not, and I'll give you a small fact. Shopian,
Can I interrupt you just because we have new numbers? The Axis My India poll also gives the NC Congress a 40 sort of seat projection. The BJP 29. So all three polls are giving the BJP 29-30. That I think we should take note of. Obviously, mostly coming from Jammu. I'd love the regional wise breakup if there's any update there. But it's on the independent/others that all three polls vary. Gulistan 21, Axis My India 16, C Voter 9, right? So Zainab, just hold that thought here. Zafar Chaudhry wants to come in. He has to leave. I'll get a quick last word from him, and then we'll go around the panel again. Zafar Chaudhry, sir, please.
Couple of things that, this question is coming up again and again about the possibility of alliances, for example, between National Conference and the BJP. I think in the post-2018 scenario, when PDP fell out, no regional political party in Jammu and Kashmir which has a history and which has a future is in a position to align with BJP. I think that thing should be very sure. I think nothing can be ruled out completely in the politics, but at least for next 5 to 8 years, no party is in a position to align with BJP, particularly in the backdrop of 2019 and events onward. Second is a very quick, this rejoinder to Zainab that there are 43 seats in Jammu region. And BJP, the max BJP could get was 25 in 2014. 6 seats have been increased. In the Lok Sabha election, the BJP's lead was only on 29 seats, despite the fact that since 2014, everything that has happened, whether in parliament, in Jammu and Kashmir, or through the central government, has been to the advantage of BJP. So I think there is going to be a very mixed result from Jammu region as well. So at that note, I take your leave. I have another commitment. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Zafar Chaudhary. We'll see you on counting day. I believe Mohit Bhan of the PDP is also with us. Thank you, Zafar Sahab. I don't see him yet, but we'll get ready to welcome him soon to the program. Karthikeya, a quick overview of both states at this point. Let's hand it over to Karthikeya, and then we'll come back for reactions. There I see Mohit Bhan of the PDP. But let's go to Haryana. Let's give our audience a quick update on Haryana, and then we'll come back to J&K. Go ahead, Karthikeya.
Haryana is the easier one today. So I mean, you can start with the easier one, which is that seems like a one-sided consensus almost that it's going to be Congress which is hitting the majority mark. It now remains to be seen how much above that 45-46 they end up with. And so if you look at the averages, right, Barkha, this is 57 seats going to the Congress, up 26 from 31. JJP getting decimated from 10 to 2. I actually won't be surprised if JJP ends up with a 0, honestly speaking. BJP at 23 on average. See, if BJP is in that 20 to 30 range, they actually won't be that upset because they anyway knew they wouldn't be forming the government. But, 23, kind of a respectable figure, but, it's a big loss of face for sure. So it's a swing of 17 seats. Others, and my sense is most of these others are INLD. So if you talk to people in Haryana, they'll tell you the 5-6 seats where INLD is in the fight. There's Ellenabad, there's Rania, there's a seat in Yamunanagar. So those 4-5 seats, they're probably in contention. That's what that is showing. Maybe a seat here and there for BSP. And that's what this equation is all about, 57-23.
So I think we're not expecting the results to contradict the exit polls in any significant way. Let's switch to Jammu and Kashmir for a quick overview, because I think there are lots of reactions coming to both Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. Go ahead on Jammu and Kashmir.
Jammu Kashmir, Haryana is a little more. Jammu Kashmir is a little more complicated, Barkha, because as we've been saying, there are two different kinds of elections playing out: one in Jammu and one in Kashmir. The one in Jammu, I think, seems to be settled. More or less, everybody saying that of the 43 odd seats, BJP might be around that 30 range, right? I don't see a lot of differences there, which means that it seems like the Congress has not pulled its weight, something that Zainab was alluding to in the Jammu region. And that's what I was saying. That
forget Zainab. Omar Abdullah on record said to me and others that he felt that the Congress had not done its part in Jammu. This is Omar Abdullah on record.
Why is this important? Because there were two X factors in this election: the performance of the independents in Kashmir and the performance of the Congress versus BJP in the Hindi-dominated Jammu seats. So at least on the latter, it seems the Congress may not have delivered if these polls are to go by, but 8, we will see the actual picture. So on the Jammu side, it seems we are settled. It's Kashmir where probably we are not very clear because the number of independents is varying across polls. At the lower end, C-Vote was giving them 9. At the upper end, a local portal called Gulistan is giving 21. That gap is not coming from the PDP. It's not coming from the BJP. It's a straight shootout between NC plus Congress and independents. And that is what is mudding the waters in terms of the final interpretation.
Okay, let's get reactions. I'll start with Dilip Cherian, Zainab. And then I want to come back to this idea that today, we just had Zafar Chaudhary saying today no Kashmir party can ally with the BJP. So if there is a hung assembly, depending on the margins, any number of scenarios could actually play out, because it's almost like the regions are voting very, very differently. I'll get Mohit and Madhavan. I'm welcoming Mohit Bhan and Madhavan Narayan to the program. Dilip, quick take. Is this a day that is going to make the BJP unhappy, or are they going to draw succor from their projected performance in the Jammu region?
I think they're going to draw succor from their projected performance. I think that and it's very unlikely that Omar would be totally wrong. The Congress's performance in Jammu not being good is going to be a big dent to the end outcome in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir. And I think formation of the government will depend a lot on how that plays out. Now, if you ask me, at this point of time, the problem in Jammu is that that part of the state also resents the fact that they don't have statehood. So I think when you see the voting pattern, you will see that that is the big picture that emerges, and it is the candidates who have made enough noises about that, who maybe the parties have been inadequate in projecting this, but the individual candidates, their messaging has been very clear. Some have very clearly said that this is an insult to us. We will not stand for it. We are not going to tolerate it, etc. So I think that vehemence is also going to probably show up in the way the eventual numbers in Jammu will be.
Okay, before I get Zainab, Dr. Abhijit, you're with the BJP. You said you were handling the media. You said you worked very hard. All the polls seem to be giving your party in the range of 29-30. That isn't enough to form a government of your own. You need a partner. The Kashmir-based parties, whether it's Engineer Rashid, Omar Abdullah, PDP, they all say they will not tie up with you. The Congress will obviously not tie up with you. How can you say that there can be? How can you say that there can be no? Can we just mute? I'll mute you for just while I complete my question. How can you say there can be no government without the BJP? Because you're conceding that you will need a partner. वो partner sir कहाँ से आएगा? Dr. Abhijit.
See, I'm not going to behave like Congress spokesperson who was more of a astrologer to you. I'll talk the exact position because, like your C voter surveys, also that exact things are there. Like more than 80 to 85% people of Jammu have voted for Bharatiya Janata Party, and to some extent, people of Kashmir have also voted for us. So when it comes to single party like a national conference, 30 to 39%, not more than those people have voted for national conference. No, exactly. If you see, then who should have the first right in calling the shots? I think it's only Bharatiya Janata Party because we are going to be the single largest party over there. So we are the one who are going to.
That's not what the polls say. The polls don't say that the BJP is going to be the single largest party.
Single largest party, Bharatiya Janata Party is going to be there. India Alliance can maybe something else. Or single largest party, obviously Bharatiya Janata Party is going to be single largest party. They had made an alliance, and we know after making alliance also they were cursing each other. Like Omar Abdullah was saying, we are not satisfied with Congress, and Congress was saying we are not satisfied with Omar Abdullah. Like what their Waqar Rasool was saying in Banihal, you know very well. And people have seen their alliance since independence. We have seen their alliance right from the time of Sheikh Abdullah ji with Nehru ji. Then we have seen Indira ji with Sheikh Abdullah. Then we have seen Dr. Farooq Abdullah with Rajiv Gandhi. Then now we have seen this alliance also of Omar Abdullah and Rahul Gandhi. People are not satisfied with them. That was the only reason that Omar Abdullah lost from Baramulla, and that was a margin of more than 2.5 lakh votes. And if you cumulatively calculate all the voters of Kashmir, it was more than 5 or 6 lakh voters who have voted against National Conference at that time, because people are fed up of the traditional politics and that dynastical politics. That is the only reason we have always talked against them. Now people have turned out in a large number. What is the reason? Because just one thing, let me say, because previously gone are the time when with 5,000 voters you used to become MLAs, with 10,000 voters you used to become minister, and 15,000 voters you used to become chief minister. Now that era has gone. You have to take lakhs of voters if you have to qualify to become chief minister or ministers. That is what we have basically delivered to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
I take your point that something is shifting in Jammu and Kashmir, but the point is that unless the BJP is the single largest party, and that's why Kartikeya, could we just mute Dr. Abhijit because there's something looping back? We'll unmute him when he responds. Unless the BJP is the single largest party, the NC and the Congress had a pre-poll alliance. They are emerging as the single largest formation. So they will have the first right to form government. If the BJP wants to throw its hat in the ring, I will again say that it will need a partner. And it's not clear to me where that partner will come from. Now, I want Mohit Bhan of the PDP to have a quick response, then Zainab, then Madhavan, and then our very own Zafar Iqbal. Kartikeya, I'll be very curious to know if there's any split data available between the NC and the Congress. If there is, or any more details, granular details between Jammu and the Kashmir region. Mohit, what do you make of these numbers? There are three different pollsters rather, giving three different numbers for the PDP, but none are giving the PDP above 9 seats. And what does that entail for your options, Mohit Bhan? Could we unmute Mr. Bhan, please? And if you're muted at your end, yeah, go ahead.
Barkha.
Yeah.
See, two things I would like to bring in to this discussion. One, I recall a very famous rhyme from our nursery days. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not, put the Humpty Dumpty back on the wall. So that is the state of BJP in Jammu and Kashmir. See, the post 2019 5th August scenario where the Bharatiya Janata Party has gone all across India or all across world saying that they have won the hearts and minds of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And, the people of Jammu and Kashmir are so happy with the kind of unprecedented development or the new era which the BJP has brought to Jammu and Kashmir. Even after that, they could not secure a single largest majority or are in a position to form the government on its own. This is the first thing what the people of Jammu and Kashmir has told BJP, that all your decisions post 5th August 2019 have not been taken well by the residents of Jammu and Kashmir. The other thing, Jasrotia Saab was just saying that about the polling percentage and all. The another example I want to tell BJP, even after building the Ram temple and fighting it for 30 plus years, they lost the Ayodhya seat. So drawing parallels of that, so and so percentage has voted in favor of BJP in Jammu and Kashmir and they are going to form the government is far from the facts. So as far as the PDP's poll numbers are concerned and as far as the exit polls are concerned, I would like to bring the attention of your esteemed audience and the panel here is also that you are comparing these numbers to 2013 or 2014 assembly elections, wherein, we have seen that post August 2019, 44 senior leaders who have been former MLAs or ministers or have been the senior leaders been arm twisted to leave. There was no stone unturned, left unturned to break
But
PDP into
Mohit,
pieces.
but Mohit, but Mohit, you saying that it's bad news for the BJP and J&K. But if you look at the projected seats, the BJP's 29 seats or 30 seats as being projected seem to all be coming from Jammu. Can we get the banner up of the vote share from Jammu? And the National Conference has done decently well in the vote share. But clearly the BJP is ahead of everybody else in the Jammu region, right? Now, I did say to Engineer Rashid, I asked Omar Abdullah, could you support the BJP? I asked the Muftis, could you support the BJP? Both said no. I asked Engineer Rashid the same question, and Riaz Majid, who belongs to Engineer Rashid's party, may want to listen to this one carefully. Take a look and we'll come back on what the options are. If the National Conference Congress Alliance falls short of a majority mark, will Mehbooba Mufti support her political rival Omar Abdullah and help them form the government so as to not be accused of helping the BJP again? That's a question we must ask. But let's first listen to what Engineer Rashid said. If there is a hung assembly, who are you ready to support? Are you ready to support? Are you ready to support a government with BJP?
मेरी बात सुनिए, मेरे लिए सरकार बनाना प्रायोरिटी नहीं है।
पर हाँ या ना में तो बताइए।
नहीं, मैं आपकी अदालत में थोड़ा हूँ, हो सकता है कोई सवाल में जवाब ना दूं।
जी, ये तो बस फिर फेयर नहीं है ना।
नहीं, क्यों फेयर नहीं है?
नहीं बताइए
ना। मैं इतना कह रहा हूँ कि जैसे ही 8 तारीख आती है
जी,
जो रेस्पॉन्स मिल रहा है, मैं मोदी जी की तरह उतना विद्वान नहीं कि मैं कहूँगा अब की बार 400 बार। मैं इतना कहूँगा आई एम श्योर माय पीपल विल नॉट लेट मी डाउन।
I'm sure my people will not let me down. And talos the question of what would happen. Riaz Majid, मुझे तो टालना ही लगा. आपको क्या लगा? He taloed it. But for him to be relevant in this, the others have to do much better than the polls are projecting. Riaz Majid sir.
Well, the thing is that it's not about avoiding the question. He has made it very clear in the other with other interviewers that we are not going to ally with the BJP. That's very clear.
Yes.
That's very clear that we are not going to ally with, because we have made it very clear, and you heard Engineer Saab saying just now that participating in the government formation is not our priority, or making the government is not our priority. But definitely, when the results are out on 8th, right, we will in our own capacity see how the things are, how the things shape up, and definitely do something that is good for the people of J&K and for the party as well.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to actually take two last comments from our Jammu and Kashmir guests, and then we'll shift our attention to Haryana. Mohit, my question to you. If the NC Congress falls short of the majority mark, will Mehbooba Mufti and your party consider supporting them from either the inside or the outside? Will there be a revival of some version of the Gupkar alliance?
See, a very valid and very important question you asked, Barkha. Right from 4th August 2019 evening, when Mehbooba Mufti Sahiba reached out to every political leader in Jammu and Kashmir, and then that later, shaped into the Gupkar alliance. And, we've always maintained that it was not an alliance for the political power or political seats, but for a larger cause for restoring the dignity of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So eventually, it has come the full circle. And today, again, what PDP president on 4th August initiated and said, we have reached the same spot again, where there is, a very clear picture emerging that there would be a PAGD kind of formation, which will form the government in Jammu and Kashmir. And as it is very clearly said by Ms. Mehbooba Mufti, that any secular government which will attempt to form the government, who will take both the regions of Jammu province and Kashmir province, the aspirations of people together, People's Democratic Party will support that alliance, will support that formation.
Okay, I think that's as clear an answer as we can get. Before we turn our attention and we say thank you to our guest from Jammu and Kashmir, Zafar Iqbal, the last words to you. I think from Mohit Bhan, it's quite clear that if the NC and Congress is short, Mehbooba Mufti does not want to be stand accused of enabling the BJP once again. That's an accusation that has been used against her in the valley. Mohit seemed to indicate that if it comes to it, she will in fact jump in and keep the BJP out. Quick last thoughts from you.
That looks more likely, because if National Conference and the Congress do not make it to the magic mark, it is more likely that they will get support of PDP or some independents, unlike a BJP, which is less likely to get a support from a Kashmir party or even Kashmir-based independents. So that's the most likely scenario. And also it keeps PDP relevant. Now, PDP, this has gone to the benefit of PDP, again due to the alliance between National Conference and the Congress. Because that alliance happened, that in fact helped PDP, because the candidates that were put up by Congress in some of the segments in the valley actually will be losing, because they are, NC had a better voter base in those regions, and that has gone to the advantage of the PDP, specifically Anantnag, areas like Tral, all those areas where NC could have performed better, but because it's the Congress candidates there, so that has in fact created more space for PDP, and more likely that they will give a support from outside if a need arises.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to say thank you to Mohit Bhan, to Zafar Iqbal, and to Dr. Abhijit, and to Riyaz Saab. And we will meet all of you on counting day. Thank you so much to all of you. I want to welcome our new set of guests, Dilip Cherian and Zainab. I'm going to request you to stay with us. Ashwini Shahi ji is with us after a long time. Ashwini ji, आपसे मुलाकात हो रही है. Namaskar and welcome back. And Madhavan Narayan is with us as well. Zafar, I'm going to say thank you to you as well now. Thank you. And just as we get Kartike back on to look at the overall numbers, it's quite clear where we stand. It's 2 minutes after 9 p.m. And here's what the exit polls project. A very comfortable win for the Congress in Haryana. A more complex result in Jammu and Kashmir, where the BJP is doing very well in Jammu, but the National Conference and the Congress is projected to be, and they have a pre-poll alliance, the largest formation, perhaps somewhat short of the majority mark. But you just heard the PDP spokesperson say that if it comes to that, Mehbooba Mufti will step in. Zainab, your overall perspective, is it a bad day, a rough day for the BJP? I'll ask Ashwini Shahi the same question, but as an analyst, What do you say? Could we unmute
Haryana?
Zainab, please? Yeah. Yeah. Start again, Zainab. Yeah.
If you are specifically asking about Haryana, I'd like to bring these facts to everyone's notice. Now, in Haryana, the last 3 assembly elections have been neck and neck. So I'll give you some facts. In 2009, out of the 90 constituencies, 31 had a victory margin of less than 5,000 votes. In 2014, 27 constituencies had a victory margin of less than 5,000 votes. And the last election had just 25 constituencies with a less than 5,000 margin of victory, which shows what? That in Haryana, elections have always been neck and neck. The state, whatever said and done, is a mosaic of 36 castes, in which OBCs are 35, Jats are 22, and SC is 20%. Now, with the pre-poll alliance, let's just once have a look at it. INLD coming in with BSP is again wanting the SC plan, because INLD itself, with its split with JJP, has made sure that it has dented its own Jat voter base, which has completely gone to the Congress. Okay. Now, when it comes to JJP and Azad Samajwadi Party, again, they're trying to go on the SC plan because they have also dented their Jat vote, again because of the split in INLD. So all in all, what ended up happening was that after 2018, when INLD split, the Jats realized, who are basically the ones who face the farmer laws, brunt and the protests brunt. So they realized that, listen, let's consolidate our votes and let's put our votes in one place. And so the best person to put their votes was Bhupinder Singh Hooda. More than Congress, this election is a testimony to how powerful Bhupinder Singh Hooda ji came out as a tall leader of the state, as a Jat leader of the state. And therefore, the Jats were like, let's put our vote in one place and let's make them win. And this has been the perception, not just now, right before election. This has been the perception for quite a few years, which is why there was such a huge reorganization within BJP. I mean, there was a reason that Khatri was removed, right? Because now BJP is focusing.
According to you, this election brings home the power of Bhupinder Singh Hooda as a grassroots regional leader.
Absolutely. And it brings out the fact that no matter how much we harp upon that caste, is now being trumped by governance. Yes, it is. But still, caste voting matters, because BJP also refocused itself on getting the non-Jat vote, the OBC vote,
Okay.
And therefore the choices that they make in their leadership.
So this is a very interesting point, Kartiki. I know you have some data for us, but Madhavan hasn't spoken yet. I'm sure Ashwini Shahi has things to say, Dilip Cherian has things to say, and I also want to welcome Dharmendra Singh, senior journalist of Dainik Bhaskar. Dharmendra ji, आपसे शुरू करती हूँ. हरियाणा के जो रुझान आ रहे हैं, expected lines पे कि any surprises?
नहीं, एक्सपेक्टेड लाइन पे ही हैं. अभी तक जो हरियाणा के एग्जिट पोल आ रहे हैं, असल में क्या है कि पिछले 10 साल की जो बीजेपी की गवर्नमेंट रही और उसको एंटी इनकम्बेंसी का काफी सामना करना पड़ा, जो जवान पहलवान और नौजवान की जो उसकी बात है, किसान की, और उसके साथ साथ संविधान भी यहाँ पे जुड़ा. एक चीज सबसे मार्के की बात है कि कांग्रेस के पास जाट का सॉलिड जाट वोट बैंक तो था ही था, इसके साथ ही साथ लोकसभा चुनाव के समय वो दलितों को अपने साथ जोड़ने में भी कामयाब रही. तो 22% कोई दलित वोट है और प्लस 7% है मुस्लिम वोट. तो ये पूरा मिला के कोई 52% हो जाता है वोट का. अगर जातों के हिसाब से अगर हम देखेंगे, जातिगत गणना के हिसाब से, तो ये 52% हो जाता है. हमने लोकसभा चुनाव में देखा कि कांग्रेस पिछली बार भी 5 सीट जीत के आई थी, तो 5 सीट बीजेपी की कम हो गई थी. इसीलिए आप देखिएगा कि शुरुआत से ही बीजेपी ने वोट के जैसे ही टिकट अनाउंस हुए, उसके तुरंत बाद से ही बीजेपी दलित वोट पे आ गई थी. शैलजा का मुद्दा उठाया बहुत जोर शोर से. कांग्रेस ने आखिरी में आके राहुल गांधी की सभा में आके और अशोक तंवर को अपनी तरफ किया. बीजेपी के पास कोई भी बड़ा दलित चेहरा नहीं है, तो उसका भी आखिरी मोमेंट पर थोड़ा सा कांग्रेस को उसका बेनिफिट मिला है. मुझे लगता है कि पोल जिस तरीके से आए हैं, नतीजे के लिए तो इंतजार करना ही चाहिए 8 तारीख का, लेकिन जो एक्सपेक्टेड लाइन है करीब करीब मुझे लगता है कि नतीजे भी उसी फॉर्म में आने चाहिए.
जी धर्मेंद्र जी, आपने एक बहुत अच्छा एक लाइन दी हमें. जवान पहलवान किसान तो थे ही मुद्दे, उसके साथ संविधान भी जुड़ गया. आई थिंक दिस इज इन अ वे द लाइन ऑफ द डे. इट रियली इनकैप्सुलेट्स व्हाट्स हैपेंड इन हरियाणा. अश्विनी जी, आज बीजेपी के नेताओं का थोड़ा मूड खराब है, आपका मूड कैसा है?
जनता जनार्दन जहां की होती है तो नेताओं का मूड क्यों खराब होगा? हम लोगों ने मेहनत किया, हम लोग जनता तक गए। अभी आपका एग्जिट पोल है, जैसे छत्तीसगढ़ में ध्वस्त हुआ था, जैसे मध्य प्रदेश में ध्वस्त हुआ था, ये भी ध्वस्त हो सकता है। जनता ने जो चुना, अभी ये हम कैसे कह दें कि हमको किसने वोट नहीं दिया? किसी अभी टीवी चैनल पर मैं देख रहा था कि ब्राह्मणों का वोट हमको मिला, ओबीसी का वोट हमको मिला, दलित में दो फ्रिक्शन हुए हैं, दो एक का हमको आ रहा है। तो हम कैसे कहें, जब इतने लोगों का वोट हमारे पास आ रहा है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हम इसको कहेंगे कि नहीं हम एकदम से लुढ़क जा रहे हैं। हाँ, अभी जैनब जी ने जो कुछ आंकड़े दिए कि जो 5,000, 2,000 और 1,000 की मार्जिन भी उसमें जोड़ लीजिए, तो हम 25 से 30 सीटें उस लेवल पर लेके चलते हैं। और ये 3 चुनाव का रुझान है। तो 3 चुनाव में आप देखिए कि 5,000 की मार्जिन, 2,000 की मार्जिन और 1,000 की मार्जिन, तो ये बहुत ही नेक टू नेक फाइट रही है। इसको भूलना नहीं चाहिए किसी को भी, चाहे वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो या कांग्रेस हो। अंत में जनता ही जनार्दन होती है, उसको हम स्वीकार करके पहले से चल रहे हैं। लेकिन हमारे पास जो दलितों में कुछ ऐसी चीजें हमने किया है कि जो ये जानते हैं दलित की ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी ही कर सकती है, कोई दूसरा नहीं कर सकता है। चाहे जम्मू कश्मीर का मामला हो, चाहे यहाँ का मामला हो।
अश्विनी जी, एक ब्रीफली, फिर माधवन और दिलीप बहुत देर से वेट कर रहे हैं और कार्तिक के पास नया डेटा भी है। लेकिन ये अशोक तंवर की जहां बात करें, धर्मेंद्र जी भी इस पे शायद कुछ टिप्पणी देंगे कि वो सुबह रैली बीजेपी की दे रहे हैं और शाम को वो कांग्रेस में घर वापसी उनकी हो जाती है और आपके पास कोई दलित चेहरा नहीं है। इस पे आप क्या कहेंगे?
देखिए, अगर इसके पीछे आप जाइएगा तो अशोक तंवर जी के साथ उनकी पत्नी को भी जोड़कर देखना होगा। और कहीं से वो कहां से चल रहे थे। देखिए, टीएमसी में गए, कितनी टीएमसी का वोट कितना बढ़ा दिए। उसके बाद वो आम आदमी पार्टी में आए, आम आदमी पार्टी का कौन सा बूम वहां हो गया। भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सीटें तो 5 रह गई वहां। तो कहां किसके लिए कितने फायदेमंद है वो जाने। शैलजा जी का जो असर है, शैलजा जी अपना वहां आधे मन से ही डटी रही, हाथ जबरदस्ती पकड़वाया गया। अब उनका जनता को क्या संदेश गया है, ये तो 8 तारीख को पता चलेगा। मगर देखने में यही आया है कि जो मैं ये लास्ट में ये अंतिम अपनी लाइन बोल रहा हूं कि जो ये एग्जिट पोल हैं, ये आंकड़े अभी बहुत बदलेंगे। इसमें हम लोगों को कहीं वो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है कि इतना ऐसे नहीं होगा। अगर बराबर कोई दिखाता तो मैं मान लेता। जी,
आपको लगता है it will be a tighter fight? Okay, before we come to the latest data, Madhavan and Dilip, quick comments. Madhavan, sorry, we've kept you waiting a long time. Go ahead, the big picture, Madhavan. Yeah.
Before I come to Haryana in detail, let me have a quick word on Kashmir, which I was tempted to say, which is that BJP may have failed in its Raj Tantra in Jammu and Kashmir, but has succeeded in Rashtra Tantra because it has managed to get a good, as the Republic of India stands, the turnout and the conduct of the elections has been very good, that the BJP can claim as a victory of its own. And particularly of relevance is Rajnath Singh's a very interesting comment that the 90,000 crore package offered to Kashmir by India is bigger than what the Pakistan is seeking from IMF. So therefore, there is a context in which the youth of Kashmir are with the Republic of India in many ways. That's a big vote. But BJP has failed there's a widespread opinion that Engineer Rashid has been indirectly backed by the BJP to cut into the gkar kind of votes. And that hasn't succeeded because, as my friend David Devadas has perceptively observed, there has been a transfer of votes from PDP to Engineer Rashid's Awami Ittihad party, by and large, from what it looks like. Therefore, there is a certain indirect benefit accruing to National Conference as a result of this. These are very interesting observations I wanted to make before going on to Haryana, where I feel Zainab presented an excellent quantitative analysis of Haryana, and there's not much to add. But I want to bring in 3 elements in line with the Jawan, Kisan, and Pahalwan. I have made this sort of provocative observation today that Haryana is North India's first Dravida state. And let me explain how. It's a very important point in Indian history. Dravida politics is not just about South India and Tamilians. It's about a modern identity in which the old kinship and caste-based identities get aspirational and interpret themselves. It's not purely a Angutha chap, I will vote for my caste kind of situation. In that, the what has emerged is that Bhupinder Hooda has emerged as the new Devilal. He's a Jat, and he is also emerged as somebody who represents Jat interests in a composite sense, in which not only old kinship, but farmer interests, women's interests, and other, things like the Agniveer or Jawan interest matter. As I put it, let me give my own one-liner of the day for you, which is that Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and Jai Jawan meant actually the izzat of the Jawan had been taken away. And Jai Kisan meant that the daulat of the Kisan had been taken away. And the Pahalwan meant that the hifazat of the women had been taken away. So if you look at it really hard behind the slogan, the issues are security of women, hifazat, daulat, the compensations of farmers, and the izzat of the Jawans, because army jobs are considered very prestigious.
Right. Yes.
And Jats are a very interesting community. They are neither fitting into the IT kind of thing, Gurgaon is home to Google and Microsoft, but nor are they the typical UP type illiterates. So Bhupinder Hooda has successfully created what I call a modern Samikaran, where traditional and the Congress party's organization in Congress, Haryana is very strong. It is something that RSS would envy, and that has also played a major role. These are my
so we're talking so much about the Hoodas. There was also some talk: would the son have his turn? Would it be the son who would be the chief minister? Quickly playing that clip of Deepinder Hooda, then coming to Dilip and then Kartikeya, and then we'll take final comments. Take a look.
माना जा रहा है कि इस चुनाव में कांग्रेस इज कॉन्फिडेंट ऑफ अ विन एंड द बिग क्वेश्चन इज नॉट कि आप जीतेंगे या नहीं, पर मुख्यमंत्री कौन बनेगा. क्या हम मान सकते हैं कि मुख्यमंत्री के दावेदार मेरे साथ भी बैठे हैं यहाँ?
देखिए, जो आपने ये सवाल किया, तो सवाल में हमारी बड़ी जीत है, क्योंकि ये प्रश्न जो चल रहा है और ये बीजेपी के भी लोग और बीजेपी के नेताओं ने भी बार बार प्रधानमंत्री जी से लेकर जब वो आए प्रधानमंत्री जी हरियाणा में, उन्होंने भी ये कहा कि मुख्यमंत्री की लड़ाई चल रही है कांग्रेस में. तो यानी कि वो ये सब मान रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस की सरकार तो आ रही है हरियाणा. यही हमारा बहुत बड़ी हमारे लिए जीत है, क्योंकि हमारा लक्ष्य ये है कि हरियाणा में बदलाव हो, कांग्रेस की सरकार बने, और भाजपा ने जो हरियाणा का इतना बुरा हाल किया 10 साल में, इस बेहाली से हरियाणा को मुक्ति मिले, हरियाणा विकास, खुशहाली, तरक्की के रास्ते पे आगे जाए, हरियाणा का एक स्वर्णिम काल शुरू हो कांग्रेस के नेतृत्व में, तो कांग्रेस की सरकार बने और हरियाणा आगे बढ़े.
Okay, Deepinder Hooda there, Dilip Cherian, being much more cautious than Kumari Selja, who said to me, along with many other media channels, that she thinks she's a contender for chief minister. The buzz in political circles is that the Hooda factor would be a claimant for the post of chief minister, depending on the margins. And if the margins were very big, it would be called Rahul Gandhi's victory. If the margins were moderate, then you would need Bhupinder Hooda. Do you think that there's any other alternative to Mr. Hooda if these numbers bear out on results day, being the next chief minister? I cannot hear Dilip. Sorry, Dilip. Start again. Can't hear Dilip.
Bhupinder.
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
As far as Bhupinder Hooda is concerned, there is no question of choice. If these results hold out, if these polls are even approximately right, he's definitely going to be chief minister. There is no question of putting Deepinder in place at the moment. It may happen 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, but at the moment, it's going to be Bhupinder, because that is what the vote is for. Please keep in mind that despite modernity, despite the fact that all the communities are pulling together for change, and the fact that they've been pissed off by the things that have happened to the wrestlers, by the things that have happened to the Jawans, the wounds are deep. And Bhupinder Hooda is the only avuncular political figure who can listen to everybody, who is, who may be a little brusque in his external approach, but that is what makes him genuine and really representative of the community that he represents, and of the other brotherries that have circled around him. So I think there's no doubt on that. just like in Kashmir. And, I think we need to keep looking at how things balance out. In Kashmir, there is no question that this election, and irrespective of the results, it's going to be a Valley-dominated game in terms of how the seats are, finally the government is formed. Similarly, in Haryana, there is no doubt that it is going to be the Hooda factor which decides. Shailaja is just expected to play this role of the publicly visible spoiler, but I think the Tawar move was well timed, and it pretty much defines how they're going to treat the Shailaja problem, if there is a problem.
Yes. Absolutely. In fact, I asked Dipinder Hooda that. I said the return of Ashok Tanwar seems to checkmate if there is a Selja factor at all. Karthikeya, before we take last comments from everybody, give us an overview of the numbers of both states. Very briefly, please. We have. Okay, what's happening?
I need to dispel something.
Okay.
Mr. Hooda, while being a very popular figure, is not. There is no one monolithic Jat identity in Haryana. Let's be very clear about it. I put out a very detailed tweet 5 days back that Mr. Hooda is extremely popular in the Jatland belt that we have in Jhajjar, Sonipat, Rohtak. As soon as you start moving towards Hisar, Sirsa, Fatehabad, those were the erstwhile strongholds of the INLD, of the Bhajanlal family, of the Bansilal family in Bhiwani. So this is a vote for Mr. Hooda in certain pockets. In certain pockets, it is a vote amongst that community for the party that they see can stand.
Okay, hold that thought. I want Dharmendra ji from the ground to give us his perspective on this, and then we can look at the numbers and final comment. Dharmendra ji, आप इस बात से सहमत है कि एक मोनोलिथिक जाट आइडेंटिटी नहीं है, ये सिर्फ हुड्डा जी का विन नहीं है, इसमें मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स है?
मतलब इस समय जो हम कहेंगे कि हरियाणा में इस समय जाटों का एकमात्र और सबसे बड़ा चेहरा इस समय तो भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा ही हैं। ये ठीक कह रहे हैं कार्तिकेय कि पहले जरूर ये बांगड़ क्षेत्र जो जिसको बोलते हैं हरियाणा में कि जो हिसार है, ये चरखी दादरी है और ये सिरसा जो बेल्ट है वो आईएनडी का बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड रहा है। लेकिन इस बार आप देखिएगा कि चुनाव में जैसे जेजेपी है, जेजेपी बहुत अच्छा नहीं कर पाई है बिल्कुल भी, और इंडियन नेशनल लोकदल भी बसपा के साथ गठबंधन के बावजूद भी कोई, मुझे नहीं लगता है कि बहुत बड़ा कोई चेहरा है। तो इसलिए अभी जाटों का एकमात्र चेहरा, मतलब बोलना चाहिए कि अगर 100 जाट हैं तो उनमें से 70-75% जाट तो अभी हुड्डा के साथ।
Okay, Ashwini ji, let's start taking जी, I need to start taking last comments. अश्विनी जी, आपसे शुरू करती हूँ। आप कहते हैं कि रिजल्ट्स बहुत अलग होंगे, लेकिन एक पैटर्न तो है ना कि बीजेपी की सरकार शायद दोनों ही प्रदेशों में नहीं बनेगी, लगता तो ऐसा ही है। आप क्या कहेंगे अश्विनी?
देखिए कैसे अभी कहा जाए, ये तो 8 तारीख तक जो है इंतजार करना ही पड़ेगा अभी एग्जिट पोल के लिए। घाटी में अगर हम 10 से 12 इंडिपेंडेंट्स का वो जो हमने समर्थन दिया है उनका साथ लेकर चले, और आपके हिसाब से मैं 29 सीट, आप 30 सीट दिखा रही हैं, लेकिन हम लोग 35 सीट के हिसाब से मानकर चल रहे हैं कि लगभग हम पा जाएंगे, तो हमारी सरकार वहां बनती हुई दिख रही है। रही बात यहाँ की, हरियाणा आते हैं तो हरियाणा में भी जो है सरकार का अभी कुछ कहा नहीं जा सकता है, लेकिन जो ये रिजल्ट अनएक्सपेक्टेड अभी दिख रहे हैं, मैं मानता हूं कि कुछ चीजें जो है वहां पर कमी कुछ थी, मगर ये ऐसी कमी नहीं थी कि जिसको हम लोग पूरा ना कर लें। और वोट जिस दिन से पड़ना, वो प्रचार शुरू हुआ है, वोट मतलब बंद हुआ है, और जो 3 दिन पहले बंद हुआ है, 4 दिन पहले से हमारे पक्ष में कुछ हवा चली है और कुछ बदलाव आया है। ये बदलाव 8 तारीख को दिखेगा, जो पहले दिखता था कि हाँ कुछ नहीं, और ये हो सकता है एग्जिट पोल पीछे से लोगों ने लिया हो, वो चीजें, नई चीजें इसमें न जुड़ पाई हो। लेकिन बरखा जी, आप एकदम कंफर्म रहिए कि ये जो आपने एग्जिट पोल दिखाया है इससे उलट आएगा यहाँ का नतीजा, और भारतीय जनता पार्टी बहुत ही बेहतर करती हुई नजर आएगी। आप देखिएगा, हम लोग भविष्यवक्ता तो नहीं है, मगर बेहतर की उम्मीद में है।
मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकती क्योंकि एग्जिट पोल्स के बहुत हेल्थ वार्निंग मुझे शुरू में ही देनी चाहिए थी कि काफी बारी गलत भी रहे हैं, लेकिन हरियाणा से एक ही फीडबैक समहाउ मिला है कि कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने की बहुत बड़ी चांस है। माधवन, द बिग पॉलिटिकल पिक्चर, let's have concluding comments on the big political picture. We'll start with Madhavan.
Yeah, I think it's very important to remember that the Modi magic is over. I mean, let me stick my neck out and say that. It's not about Modi anymore. It's about issues. It's about communities. It's about interest groups being managed in what is popularly called Samikaran. That is a reconciliation of interests as well as voting patterns of various communities, which is why Bhupinder Hooda is important as a modern Jat leader. He's halfway between Bansi Lal and Devi Lal. And the other important point to remember is that the Chautala clan, INLD comes from the Chautala clan, the JJP comes from the Chautala clan, and Ranjit Singh, who has just had a fallout with BJP, is the son of Devi Lal. He was a minister in the BJP, he's now out. So this implosion in the Chautala extended family and their followers has meant that the disenchanted Jot votes have cast their lot with Bhupinder Hooda. And that is a very important point, because Hooda is not just he has emerged as some kind of we can only talk about, let's say, somebody who manages to reconcile contradictions with a combination of firmness and offers.
I want to pick up the big comment you've made. The Modi magic is over. Zainab, do you agree? I know you're here as a political analyst, and we're not casting you today as an ally of the BJP. But yeah, do you agree with that? That in a way, since the Lok Sabha elections, there's a diminishing of the capacity of the Prime Minister to draw votes in every situation for the BJP. That seems clear now.
Please don't.
Or would you avoid the generalization? I should complete my question.
I honestly, and this is my personal opinion, not because I belong within the RLD as a spokesperson, but honestly, I don't think the Modi magic is over. General conversations with people, especially urban class and the middle class, they're still enamored by Modi ji. They still feel like he's the one who's put us on the global front, and now we are recognized. Indians are recognized and given the respect that they always had to have in the world. So we've become these key players, on the globe. So basically, for me, I feel Narendra Modi ji will always remain sort of like an iconic figure, be it even if he's out of power. So for me to make this generalized statement that Modi magic is over, I think it's a false statement. I'm honestly telling you this.
Okay. Madhavan, quick response, one line, and then everyone can respond to this as we close. Madhavan, can we unmute Madhavan? Yes. Yeah.
Quick response is that I don't disagree with Zainab, but India is not about geopolitics. The big mistake Modi has spent is that there's too much emphasis on the image of India abroad, whereas there are lots of here and now interests of every Indian, various interest groups, whether it's women or farmers or various castes. That is being missed by the BJP, or being forced to BJP is forced to reckon with these realities, which is why the personality votes do not matter as much as the issue and policy.
Yeah, got it. You think that the focus of the Modi government has been wrong. धर्मेंद्र जी एक सेंटेंस में बताइए कि ये जो आपने लाइन दी हमें, संविधान, जवान, किसान, पहलवान is of course unique to Haryana, but it is a metaphor for women's security. ये आपको लगता है कि मोदी मैजिक इज ओवर? आप जोड़ेंगे उससे कंक्लूजन से कि आप नहीं जोड़ेंगे?
नहीं, मोदी मैजिक ओवर, मैं इससे बहुत सहमत नहीं हूं, पर ये जरूर है कि कुछ मैजिक का असर कम जरूर दिखाई दिया हरियाणा में, ये जरूर कह सकता हूं, लेकिन ओवर जैसी बात तो नहीं है, क्योंकि मोदी के लिए तो मतलब मोदी जी के लिए अभी भी लोग चाहते हैं और वो वेव बदलने की क्षमता तो रखते हैं, इसमें कोई वो नहीं।
ये आपने इंटरेस्टिंग बात कही कि मैजिक है लेकिन मैजिक का असर कम है। अश्विनी जी, बिफोर आई गिव
एक चीज और कहना चाहूंगा मैं, कहना चाहूंगा कि अभी जो आज जो पोलिंग जो हुई है वो 7% कम है हरियाणा में, और बीजेपी का जो स्ट्रॉन्ग लैंड जो कहते हैं हम शहरी क्षेत्र, उसमें बहुत डिक्लाइन गया है, मतलब पोलिंग परसेंटेज काफी नीचे गया है। तो ये एग्जिट पोल को और ज्यादा थोड़ा सा, मतलब जो एग्जिट पोल है वो शायद और सटीक हो सकता है 8 तारीख को। फाइनल रिजल्ट तो नहीं है, लेकिन जो वोटिंग पैटर्न जो है वो कांग्रेस के पक्ष में जाता हुआ दिख रहा है।
अश्विनी जी अभी भी नहीं मानेंगे? अश्विनी जी
देखिए, मानने का मैं 8 तारीख तो आने दीजिए, मैं अभी भी इस बात को कह रहा हूं कि माधवन जी के व्यक्तिगत विचार हो सकते हैं कि मोदी मैजिक ओवर। मोदी मैजिक ये था पूरे देश में कि एक पार्टी का एक छत्र राज्य था। आज 2 राष्ट्रीय पार्टियां, बड़ी पार्टियां कम से कम खड़ी तो हैं, नहीं तो 56 साल तक सिर्फ एक पार्टी राज कर रही थी। और मोदी मैजिक ही था कि आज कम से कम बराबर उनको तो नीचे ले आकर, हाँ ठीक है 10 साल की सरकार है यहाँ, हमारे साथ अगर एंटी इनकम्बेंसी लागू होती है, जनता ने हमको नहीं चुना तो भी हम स्वीकार करने के लिए हैं, अगर जनता चुनती है तो भी स्वीकार करते हैं। मगर पूरे देश में आप ये माधवन जी कहेंगे कि नीला जो है वो बैगनी समंदर रहे तभी मोदी मैजिक है? ये लोकतंत्र है, जनता मालिक है, मानना पड़ेगा। 37% वोट पाकर हम पूरे देश में आज 22 राज्यों में सरकार हमारी चल रही है। आप इसको मानना पड़ेगा, ये मोदी मैजिक ही है जिससे कुछ लोगों नहीं, मैं व्यक्तिगत जिससे कुछ लोगों के मन में थोड़ी सी कुंठा है और वो कहीं ना कहीं व्यक्त होना है, व्यक्तिगत विचार के रूप में भी हो सकता है। जी,
I am giving Dilip the last word. Madhavan, you have one sentence precisely. Madhavan, one sentence.
मेरा अश्विनी जी से कहना है कि मोदी जादूगर थे, अब सिर्फ नेता बन के रह गए हैं। वो छूते हुए वो माइडस टच चला गया कि मोदी जी पहुंच गए तो जीत होती थी, वो नहीं है, वो आप मानना ही होगा।
ओके, मोदी जी जादूगर थे, अब नेता है। दिलीप चेरियन, आई एम गिविंग यू the last word on this prickly subject.
Keeping strictly to the subject of magic, there are 2 kinds of magic. There are card trick magic and there's hypnotism magic. And I think that you can miss out a trick or two if you're a card trick magician, but if you're a hypnotist magician, you cannot miss out even one. And if that happens, then your hypnotism has failed and you're no longer a magician. If you're a card sharp magician, you can miss one trick or the other and it doesn't matter so much.
All right, that's interestingly said. I will close with an ironic comment by Omar Abdullah, who says, I'm amazed channels are bothering with exit polls, especially after the fiasco of the recent general elections. I'm ignoring all the noise because the only numbers that matter will be revealed on the 8th of October. The rest is just time pass. So I thought कि हमने 1.5 घंटा बड़े मजे से time pass किया है. I want to thank all of you, to Kartike, to Ashwini ji, to Dharmender ji, to Zainab, to Madhavan, to Dilip Cherian, and all our other guests. And we'll see you on counting day. Kartike will be there to decode the results with us. Thank you very much. And to our audience, thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.